Hi everyone, I'm Ashley Harwood and I am here in Seattle visiting my good friend Ann of all trades. If y'all aren't familiar with Ann, she is an amazing woman. She's a woodworker, she is an organic farmer and a YouTuber and just an all-around inspiring person. So Ann and I have a few awesome things in store for this video. We are literally going to make a bowl farm to table. So starting in the woods on the farm with a chainsaw and ending up at the table with vegetables that Ann has grown herself here on her organic farm. We are going to meet some of her adorable animals and we are going to take a look at Ann's workshop. So let's go. All right, he's ready.
Oh no! Hold on, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay. Primmy has won over my heart. I want a high maintenance puppy just like her.
I'm here in the Seattle area teaching for a couple of weeks, and while I'm here, I get to catch up with Ann, cuddle her animals, and of course, make a mess in her shop. Ann and I sparked a fast friendship over the past year and a half through our mutual passion for working with our hands. Cooking, playing music, traveling, and chainsawing are just a few of the things we love to do together. So Ann and I decided that it would be fun to turn a couple of bowls from this willow tree that had fallen on her property. It was a beautiful day to bust out the saws and harvest some fresh bowl blanks.
Sticky. Oh, good. Sorry.
Let's take a little break before we start turning this bowl and learn a bit about Ann.
There's shavings on top of the door. Have utterly and completely ruined
awesome.
my organization. Welcome to my humble abode, the shop. This is where I make furniture. You actually, I think, used my lathe for the first time in way too long.
Ann, can you tell us a little
Yes.
bit about how you got into woodworking and where you got your start and what got you interested in it?
Absolutely. So my grandpa was a woodworker and I loved making stuff in his shop, but my parents were missionaries, so we traveled almost my entire childhood. My dad is not really one to have a shop and tools of his own, so I didn't really have a lot of experience with it until I was much older.
So where all have you lived?
Well, we've just traveled kind of a lot. Ukraine, Austria, Czech Republic. Far more recently, I spent a lot of time in Asia. I spent most of my young adult life there in Taiwan and went to university in Beijing. And 7 years ago, we moved back to Seattle, which incidentally is when I got my first shop. We had a garage and I went on Craigslist. I had $300 for my shop budget and I started buying and selling things like crazy to finance buying the tools that I wanted. Then 4 years ago, we had the opportunity to buy this rundown, broken place, and I've been working on basically converting it ever since.
You've told me that a part of why you wanted a farm is because of how you grew up and living in a lot of different places. You could never own animals.
Yes. Yeah, so my first pet arrived along with the farm and it went from 1 to over 80 quite quickly.
Oh, wow.
Actually. And now if you count the bees, we're, up above 60,000, so no. But yeah, owning livestock and everything, I just love the, because we were moving around all the time and changing our locations a lot, I always wanted a place that I could call home. And part of home is getting established. And boy, have we gotten established here. It's now quite difficult to ever leave this place. So I'll take you for my wood shop, which is a lot more finished space, into kind of some of the next works in progress. This is going to be my welding and fabrication studio. And this is, I'm not a very good welder, but for farm reasons, we often have to attach metal to metal. So I've had to learn how to do that. But the welding actually came as a compliment to blacksmithing, which this is my new blacksmithing shop. It still has a long way to go before it's fully usable. But it was really important to me as I got into hand tool woodworking to start being able to make my own tools. And so I got this harebrained idea last year to make every tool that I would need to be able to make a chair from a tree. And so earlier this year I was able to make a Windsor chair using mostly tools that I had forged myself. So
Awesome.
Well, welcome to my humble garden. So the garden kind of started very small. At our old house, I just grew a few vegetables and I found out that I really love it. But I love growing things because I love cooking things. And so the ultimate motivator for me is food. So, you know, from salads to canning and preserving, it's really important to me that we eat good food when we're here. And so I love experimenting, but the thing again, I think that's the same from woodworking to the farm is you're creating order from chaos. Peas, we've got some cabbages, some broccoli, some turnips.
Ooh, broccoli.
You know, you love your broccoli. Some spices. I've got some asparagus that, you know, is gonna take a little while to get established here, but it's growing there. Garlic, onions.
Are those blackberries over there?
Those are raspberries, actually. So in Washington, blackberries are an invasive species. So we choose to put another invasive species, raspberries, in its place. We've got, you know, shards, beets, radishes, cabbage, kale, lots of different kinds of lettuce, a few little zucchinis and other things like that. I'm an apist. No.
Apis?
I don't think that's what it's called. It's an apiary. Bees are ape. So anyway, I've got some bees. So, and by some, I mean about 60,000 bees. Yeah, so this is the barn, and these are my precious little creatures here that have come here through many various means. We've got Howdy and Bella the donkeys, and we've got Loretta Lynn and Dolly Parton and Aretha Franklin back there. And, oh, the alpacas too. We've got, hey Dolly, come here.
You want to see the bunny? Hey. They do like the bunny.
They love bunnies. The alpacas love to groom bunnies.
Really?
Yes, it's very strange. I have never figured out
Why is that?
why. I really genuinely don't know.
Thank you for giving me my first goat milking experience.
Oh, you know, goat milking is just the best. What did you think about it? What tips would you have for a budding goat
What
milker?
tips would I have?
Yeah,
Be aggressive.
be aggressive.
Be very aggressive. Well, now that y'all have had the chance to get to know my friend Ann a little better, let's get back to making these bowls.
Oh no, are we out of gas?
Yeah,
Oh, well, we can fix that.
but I'm gonna feel like such a wimp.
I'll go get you some gas and just try it with that though. I wanted to see. Kind of cutting like a champ, even though, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
It doesn't have the same vroom vroom though.
It does not have the same vroom
I
vroom.
need some vroom vroom.
Amazingly, full blanks have been created.
Ann had a really fine blade on her bandsaw that wasn't well suited for cutting bowl blanks, so we decided to get them closer to round with the electric chainsaw. This is also a great method to make bowl blanks if you don't have a bandsaw or if your bandsaw isn't quite big enough for your bowl blanks. Our blank ended up just a tad off balance, so Ann was nice enough to weigh down the lathe for me while I got it round. Ann and I actually found each other through Instagram. About a year and a half ago, she reached out to me when she saw I was going to be in her part of the country teaching.
Boy, it really got in there, huh?
There it is. All right. I added an extra day onto my trip and came to the farm. By the end of the day, we were singing and playing a piano banjo version of Genie in a Bottle. Since then, we've met up in Paris, the UK, Maine, and Atlanta, all for events that revolve around our mutual love of woodworking. While a part of our bond definitely comes from being females in a male-dominated industry, it's so much more than that. I see Ann as a strong woman who is fearless in everything she does, and that's something that inspires me. There it is.
There she blows. This is my life now.
She's not afraid to learn new things, to tackle a gigantic project, to push herself further, or to share her knowledge with others, and she makes everyone else's day brighter all the while. And the fact that we can cut up a tree, make a couple bowls, and sit down to enjoy a homegrown salad together in an afternoon is just the icing on the cake. I just wanted to say thank you so much, Ann, for sharing your space with us, for letting me make a gigantic mess out of your workshop and throw shavings in your face, and also for showing us your beautiful garden and your adorable fluffy animals. I'm taking this one with me, by the way. And thank you everyone for watching. Please subscribe if you like what we're doing here. And if you haven't already, we're going to have a link below, so check out what Ann is doing and follow her as well. And we'll see you next time.